In today's video, I start the Wolfman Clubhead. Enjoy. Okay, so this is the first video I'm recording with the new camera, the new Sony a6700. Also got a new audio setup, so hopefully there's some improvements there. But I do need to be a bit quick with the video. I've got a recording time of around 10 to 13 minutes max first, because then the camera overheats and stops recording. So I have ordered a cooling unit which connects to the camera and will cool it, but yeah, that hasn't turned up yet. So just going to do the first colour for the Wolfman today, Montmartre Burnt Sienna Brown. So yeah, it's kind of like a gnarly old brush and just going everywhere. There's no point trying to finesse around the eyes or teeth, because basically when I do the dry brushing of the second colour as well, it tends to go everywhere. So I'm just going to work on the skin now, get that all looking good, and then once that is completed, then I'll do like a first white colour over the shirt and pants and the areas I stuff up basically. So I am fully expecting the brown to go everywhere, and just dealing with that instead of trying to prevent it basically. So he does have pants and a shirt, so there will be different colours for there, but he's got like his knees are showing through tears in the pants, and that's going to be the same kind of skin colour. So once again, I'm just going to do a very, very rough first coat. Then I'll do probably a more smaller brush detailed second coat, because there is also a fair bit of like ridge lines that this style of brush won't get into so well, especially with like the hair and stuff. Once that's done, then yes, I'll do the lighter brown colour with the dry brushing, and then only once that's all kind of done and dried can I really start to prep the clothing for it to be painted. So yeah, a little bit of a process, but that's par for the course, or part of the joy of getting the fur to kind of look like the way you want it to look. That two-tone dry brushing that I like. It's basically the exact same colours last year. I had a Wolfman style present which I gave to someone as well. I think I did do videos on that. So yeah, if you watch that video from about a year ago, it's basically the same colour combination. I just find works really, really well. So yeah, a little bit of a learning curve with the new Sony camera. I did a whole bunch of tests this morning, various audio levels, and I kind of did my laundry, had the washing machine going at the same time, so I could kind of try and determine how much external noise the microphone picks up. So what I've got now is what they call a shotgun mic. It's basically a directional microphone. So instead of using the onboard microphone like I did with the Audro camcorder that I had been using, this now is a separate dedicated microphone that just plugs into and connects to the camera. And I had issues in the past where the audio levels were quite low, and so then what I had to do was adjust the audio levels in post, which is not ideal. So like in the software, because it's just like a digital increase rather than the actual audio level. So it can kind of result in spikes of sound and stuff. So I'm not an audio engineer, but yeah, I just know that the base audio level that came across was too low and I had to ramp it up. So with this system, obviously, you get what you pay for, and this is a much more sophisticated system. I'm just able to set audio levels directly to the camera, and yeah, so anyway, I basically recorded a very short video at every audio level, and then just went back, listened to them all, and figured out what I thought was the sweet spot. Obviously I can adjust it later on if it turns out to need adjusting. But all part of the fun of having a new toy to play with, basically, when you get new equipment. And then once I'd done that, I did basically the exact same thing with the, what do they call it? The white color balance, the ISO. So with this camera, once again, it's got a lot more kind of color control and white balance control. So one of the videos that I'd watched on YouTube talked about matching it to your lights. Like I've got a huge LED light, which is set at, I forget what the actual measurement's called, but it's set at 4,400, whatever it is. And that provides a certain light. So I set my camera initially to 4,400. And it just looked way too dark and didn't, wasn't happy with the result at all. So then I did the exact same thing. I recorded, very, very short videos, but this at, 5,000, 5,200, and so on and so forth. And I went through it all. And so anyway, I've kind of got it at a level that I think is reasonably good, and hopefully it all looks good, but obviously, once again, this is the very first actual video I'm doing with the settings for the new camera. So, over time they may get tweaked and changed and modified. But for now, this is what we're going to run with. Yes, I have ordered a specialized lens called a macro lens, but that has not turned up yet. So what I'm actually using is just the default lens that came with the camera when I bought it, and seems to work reasonably well. So I'm quite happy with like the zoom and auto focus and all that good stuff, which is obviously a big reason why I bought this camera, because the price difference was pretty significant. I've gone from like $300 worth of kit to about $2,500 Australian, mind you, worth of kit. So yeah, it's obviously a big difference there, but the lens plays obviously a very large part on the final output. So yes, looking forward to when the macro lens that I've ordered turns up. I'll probably end up doing like a studio update for the 1 year anniversary of this channel, which is November. So recording this in October, so it's not far away. And then yeah, I'll definitely kind of show off all the new equipment when I do that video. Alrighty, so actually I will paint the tongue, but the roof of the mouth will be brown as well, so I might as well just throw that in there while I've got it out. Anyway, yes, so that's a start on the Wolfman Clubhead. Okay, now that the darker brown colour has dried, I can do the dry brushing with the War Sienna, which is the lighter of the two colours. So kind of keen to get this underway and started because everything else is held up. Like I can't really even white out, let alone paint the eyes or teeth until I do this, because it's one of those situations where it's just going to go everywhere. So you need to really wait and do the skin tones first. I'll go really heavy on like the eyebrows, almost like they're painted, but most of it should just be a really kind of light press. I'm a big fan of this two-tone dry brushing style. It looks really good with fur textures and skin textures, especially things like the black bears with the barbarians that I did with the silver. Yeah, just the visual effect I just think works really well. Kind of shows wear and age and environment all in one fell swoop, and gives depth, I guess, to the look of the model. So this is kind of the medium of the size dry brushes that I have. I do have bigger ones than this, but also have smaller. Obviously the smaller you go, the more coverage you get, because it gets in more detail, but and the bigger the brush, the lighter the effect. So now that this is done, or nearly done, I'll white out the eyes. I'll probably take a couple of coats considering how dark the brown is, and the teeth, and probably will work on the tongue in a different colour as well. So plus, you know, now I can get started on the clothing and that. So basically everything has been held up waiting for the skin colours to be finished, and now that that's happened, I can get on with the rest of the model. I'm going to work on the shirt now on the Wolfman Clubhead using this AK Deep Red. So the shirt is red and the pants are blue. Is the kind of country clothing, I guess you could say, thing that I'm going for. If flannelette shirts were easy to paint, I would probably give them a flannelette shirt. But, yes, that's kind of the inspiration for the colour palette. If you can hear a bit of fan noise, apologies for that, but that seems to be the way of this new Sony camera. I have had heat issues with it like overheating and stopping recording. So I have purchased like this, it's quite fancy actually and quite reasonably priced, heatsink and fan system that plugs literally slots right into my new Sony camera, and that's the fan that you can hear. So I have moved my microphone. Basically I've moved it from one side of the desk to another side and further back in an effort to try and minimize the amount of the fan noise that the camera picks up. And I've also done a whole bunch of testing, which I enjoy anyway, it's all good fun. The audio levels on the Sony camera, and long story short, so I basically decreased the recording audio level from, I had it set at 22 on the Sony system, and now it's been recorded at 15. So at a lower volume, but at what I found to be like the sweet spot between not picking up a lot of the fan noise, whereas at the higher levels you were picking up more fan noise than my voice, but also still being able to actually hear what I'm saying. So anyway, I've set it at this new level. It's not surprising. There was always going to be a growth curve with new equipment, like that's just par for the course, and there was always going to be testing and tweaks and changes and that, but that's also part of the fun and enjoyment of learning about different type of technology and gear. So I don't really mind any of that. You just kind of adapt and do the best you can to get things working the way you want them to be. Yes, it is a little bit annoying, unfortunately, that I need to run that to stop the camera from overheating. And I don't know, it's new technology to me, so I'm still learning my way. But one of the annoying things about it is that I have a USB-C cable connected to the camera. That's fine. But basically what it does is actually recharge the battery that's in the camera. You can't run the camera without the battery being in place. Like if you have the USB cable connected, so it's connected to power, but you turn the camera on, it just doesn't turn on. It won't turn on without the battery in there. So even though the camera should, in theory, I would have thought, been able to run off the USB-C cable, it's not. And I'm assuming that part of the issue with the overheating is actually the battery getting hot. So if I was able to remove the battery, then potentially it would eliminate or reduce the heat issues, which would then eliminate or reduce my need to run a fan. And I do have, I actually bought two fans, long story there. This one, which has got like a heat sink connected to it, seems to be amazing tech. It's kind of very similar, for those of you that know computer equipment, it's very similar to the concept of a heatsink with a PC computer that kind of connects to the CPU, the central processing unit on the computer, the part that, like the brain, that does all the thinking. That's the part that gets very, very hot. And so for a very long time, not new technology, with computers at least, they've had these heat sinks which are usually like a conductive metal, like copper, that presses against it, draws the heat away, and then they have like fan setup and exhaust setup. So like I say, this is certainly not new technology. Those have been around for a very long time. Well, this is very similar for the camera. Like I said, it literally slots right into the back where the viewfinder can be. You can kind of slide the viewfinder out, like similar to my camcorder that I had before. And then, yeah, it has a big flat surface pressed against the camera, which gets quite cold, and obviously you can hear a bit the fan, and the fan runs to keep the whole system cool. And it's obviously quite important for the camera, because the camera does have internal electronics, and I don't really want my brand new couple of $1,000 Sony camera to cook its electronics and die on me. That obviously is not acceptable. So yeah, long story short, we've done our tests. We have adjusted and altered the recording volume in an effort to minimize the amount of fan noise that you hear over my voice. So we'll trial it. I'll undoubtedly get feedback from people, and we'll take it from there. But yeah, I'm very, very happy with the picture from the Sony camera. So yeah, that side of things is awesome. Very happy with that. But audio has been a challenge, and to be honest, I found audio to be a bit of a challenge even with the camcorder, even with the other previous setup. Getting, like, I had an external mic, I tried a lapel mic, although a lapel mic is a little bit problematic slash annoying in that you have a I had wired versions of it. I didn't have wireless version, which meant I didn't need to worry about recharging it. But it meant I had a cable kind of dangling down and going to me, which kind of gets in the way of things, especially when you're painting a model and moving the model around in various angles. And anyway, all a work in progress. So that is the red shirt, aka deep red. Okay, so having finished the shirt, now I'm going to work on the pants in this Ducat blue colour by AK. Beautiful blue. Once again, these are kind of country boy style theme colours. As with a lot of colour palettes these days, I kind of create the thumbnails first when I've got the model, and just play around with colours there, what I think may work, and get the AI to do different themes, and just it can come up with colours as well sometimes, stuff that I hadn't even thought of. But in this case, yeah, I thought, well, it would be nice if I could paint checkered shirt. That would be cool. But I think the kind of blue jean style pants should work quite well. Not that this is necessarily a denim colour, maybe a little bit lighter than down. But yeah, that kind of thing. And I do like this blue. I've used it on many different models and different reasons. Once again, it should be a pretty quick video. It's not going to take long. Now that the skin is finally done, I can get stuff like this happening. Haven't decided what colour I'm going to paint the belt yet. I think these little L-shaped objects that I painted the chevron on and have put on my desk, I think they help me with remembering where to keep the model when I'm painting it. So in the past it was so zoomed out that, you know, I could move it forward or back and it didn't really affect the experience of you seeing the model, but it also meant you didn't see as much of the detail because it was so zoomed out. One of the benefits of this camera, and soon hopefully the macro lens will turn up. So this is just the standard lens that came with the camera in the package that I bought, and I've got to be honest, the lens is actually way better than I anticipated it would be, to the point where if I hadn't ordered both things around the same time, I may not worry about ordering the macro lens and just run with this default lens of the camera. I think it can zoom in well enough for my purposes. But anyway, it's ordered and well and truly on its way. Hopefully it should either turn up at the end of this week, if not, definitely should have it by next week. So another toy to play with, and also to see you know, how much detail you can see when I shoot these videos. But the challenge that then in turn provides is, because I am more zoomed in, I need to keep the model not necessarily not moving, because that's kind of impossible for painting. Like here, I've got to rotate the model and look at it from this angle, look at it from another angle, because if you just look at it from one angle, you miss stuff. But I do need to keep it in a central area a lot more than I needed to worry about before when I was zoomed out further. So these little L-shaped objects that I created and put the chevrons on, when I start the video, like turn it on before I start recording, I just kind of move them to where I want them, and then they act as a really good reference while I'm painting to keep the model within that kind of range. So yeah, it just makes my life a bit easier, and hopefully ends up in me not moving the model off camera and painting it off camera, which would kind of be annoying for both of us, really. Okay, there's the first coat. First coat of the blue.